Hello, it's Don. Okay, today we're not playing with the boats. We're not playing with the Panga. Well, I shouldn't say we're not playing with the boats. We got a job today. We got a cool job. Look at this thing. This is an airboat, a friend of mine, and it's got I think a 429 LS on there. Gobs of horsepower. I'm not sure what it is. I'm pretty sure it's over 600 horsepower. This thing's a rocket ship. What a cool boat, huh? Anyways, he says he's losing oil pressure, and I don't know. It's not that old of a motor. It ain't been worked that hard. I have a hard time believing that he's losing oil pressure. I'm inclined to think that he's got a gauge issue, but what we're going to do, we're going to add a manual gauge to this thing. We're just going to put it in series with the sender, and it's nothing, no big deal. These aren't expensive. You know, you can get cheap ones for $15 probably. This is a little better one. But we're just going to tee this into line with the oil pressure sender, and this will give us a reading. Hey, this is what your oil pressure is. And then we'll know, okay, well, it is low. We need to find out why, or we can say, look, it's fine. It's your gauges that's messed up. So you start with the easy stuff first. And speaking of, I'm going to come around here and start with the easy stuff first. You know, everybody's not mechanical enough, maybe. A lot of times they have these toys and they just use them. I'm going to start with the simple stuff. I'm going to check the oil. You know, if it ain't got no oil in it, it would be low. So, you know, sometimes don't overthink this stuff. Let's see if I can set this up somehow. You know, start with the easy stuff and work your way up from there. How many times I've worked on a little boat motor that, you know, oh, this is bad, that's bad, and it was just a bad spark plug. Well, there seemed to be plenty in there. Actually, it looked like it was overfull. Overfull it is. Not much, it's just right at the top of the scale. But, okay. It's 1/8 above the top of the scale. It's probably not the end of the world. I like to run right there midway. All right, well, we've done that. We know it's got oil in it. That's the important thing. Okay, let's make sure everything's off. Battery switch is off. We would really hate for this thing to start up while we're working on it for any reason. Always take your little safety precautions first. So I'm going to set up, I'm going to get a few tools. And here's the oil sender on this thing. Right here, this is real easy. So I'll just take it's just a single wire. I'll take the single wire off. I'll unthread that out of there. I'm going to put a T in the line, then I can put the sender back in along with the manual gauge, and then we can compare the two, and we'll know. We'll say, hey, you know, you do have an oil pressure problem, or we'll say, no, look, this gauge is perfect. You got probably a sender problem. He's got good gauges in here, and of course, even good gauges go bad. So that's the plan. Let me round up some tools, and we're going to get right back on it. Okay, we got our tools rounded up that I think we're going to need for this job, which isn't much. One thing about an airboat, they're cool. They are, but it's just, I guess it ain't no better working under a hood. I got to get in somewhere everywhere. The oil level is going to be above where I'm working, so I got to drain a little bit out of here. And lucky for me, this thing's got a valve on it right there. So I already got a hose going into a jug there. I'm going to drain some oil down. Get my body in behind this prop. So that's on there, that's on there. We're in my jug. There we go, we got oil coming out. All right. I'll go ahead and drain the whole gallon out of it. And, get it all drained down good. It don't come fast out of there, does it? Maybe if I get a little air into it somewhere, we'll pop the cap loose up top. I got things to do. Why should go so fast now? It'll overfill on me. There we go. You know what? I'm going to set that aside. Well, I better not. Them wasps or something will get in there. I'll just leave it up there. Don't seem to be going any faster, does it? Ooh, sure don't look too clean either. Maybe we're going to tell him he needs an oil change too while we're at it. Yes. So I've been in this boat before. It's a scream. You know, 80 miles an hour ain't nothing in this thing. I'm sure it'll go faster than that. And anywhere it wants to go, anyhow it wants to go, it goes. Frog's got to have a chance. There is not a frog in the Everglades can outrun this thing. Anyway, so well, we're not going to sit here and watch oil drain for a little while, so I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, we've got the better part of a gallon out of there. That should be more than enough to get below the level of where we're working. So let's get it done. Let's get it done. Climbing this cage, that's the problem working an airboat. It's around the cage, around the prop, through something, through that, through this. Like I said, probably not as bad as a car because I'm not all bent over in the hood. I don't know if I got bent over the hood in it. Okay, so here's the sender, and I'm sure it's original, and there's better than an average chance this could be all of our problem. Whoa. Well, that's a lot of oil for something that's supposed to be empty. Let's get a little, good thing I had a rag down there. Let's get a little bowl to put underneath there. Alright, here we go. Ah, boy, that's tight. Makes you wonder if half this problem ain't maybe too much oil in there, but ain't blow no seals out. Oh, yeah, there. And just like that, it's about done. Okay, here's my T. I've already got some Teflon tape on the one side. I'll put a little more on there. Look at that. I went and got that, and it just ain't leaking 2 drops now. Oh, well. A little more Teflon tape on our threads here. Hole. There it is, offset. Should have remembered that. It wasn't that long ago. I just had it off. Okay. Clean up that mess a little bit. And this fitting doesn't have wrench marks on it. That ain't no good. When we're done, we'll just leave this gauge on here. That way he's always got a reference. It's always good to be able to double check something with a manual gauge. Can't always can't always trust all this stuff these days, all this new high-tech stuff. Of course, oil pressure gauges have been around forever, haven't they? This one feels heavy, like it's full of oil. I'm thinking this is our problem. That's going to go straight out, like so. Oh, I like that. I like that plenty. Okay. You notice I don't use a real big bare plier on that or a lot of wrench. This stuff doesn't require a lot of torque. It's all pipe fittings. It just needs to be sealed. Teflon tape on everything. Okay, now this should go right up there. Oh, yeah. Now watch the wire be too short. It's going to make it. It's going to be close, though, isn't it? That's what we call a knuckle buster in the mechanic world. Okay, that wire's facing right up toward it now, so it should reach easy enough. Woo, look at that, just makes it. Let's wipe up that oil so we make sure we know we ain't leaking anything afterwards when we're done. I'd hate to see all that and say, oh my gosh, I got a leak and I didn't even know it. Okay, here's my gauge. This is going to work out good. It's going to point straight out, so we can just stand outside the cage and see this. Airboats are cool, but they can be dangerous. When that prop's running, you can't see it. You definitely don't want to stick your hand in there. It'd be like a shark attack. And go in, not come out. This is a liquid-filled gauge, so hopefully I'll be able to handle the vibration no problem. That's going pretty good. Get one more rotation, get it straight up and down. Right there. Well, don't that look good? Doesn't that look good? On airboats, anything that comes loose can go through a prop, so I give that stuff a little bit extra. Alrighty then, we're done, I think. We got the battery charged up now, hopefully enough for it to start. I disconnected his radio. I think that was drawing his battery down. He had it straight wired, not through the switch. So if his memory was on, it was dragging down all the time. Everything's good enough to see if it'll start. It's all secured to the truck, so it can't go nowhere. I'm not going to give it a bunch of gas. I don't want it to blow things around here, but let's just see if it'll go. Keys on. Ignition's on. Oh, you can really hear that pump now. Good. Let's start it. Alright, we can clearly say his problem is more than likely that oil center, because the gauge is reading 10, 15 pounds, and the manual gauge that I just put on there was reading a solid 60 pounds. I'd say that motor's tight and running good. So he'll be happy. I got his battery charged up for him, and the oil's changed. Oil pressure's great. We'll have to get him a new sender. Meanwhile, he can use the boat. It's doing everything it's supposed to do. Okay, well, that was, I don't know, maybe not as exciting as fishing, but we had to do it. Had to be done. Don does it. Don had to work today. All right, thanks for joining me.